Hello, this is Jeff Altgilbers, and welcome to my Monday mentoring call. I'm excited to share some information about compensation plans and how you can see a good one from a bad one, and then when you find a good one, how to maximize it. Going to talk about that. If you don't know me, I've been in network marketing 40 years. I'm the guy that sold a junk truck for $200 just to get started in network marketing because I was broke. And since that time, today I have a global business, 56 countries, doing around 200 million a year. Not bad. $200, 200 million a year in global sales. So, do on. Nice to see you. You can. I'm going to give a shout out to some friends who joined us. Hello, Rick. Nice to see you. Loranda from Canada, and Priscilla Smith from the state of Maine. Man, she's hanging out in that igloo, man. It's cold there. Thomas says it's cold in Minnesota too. Good to see you, Thomas. Jenny, Massachusetts. Nice to see you. Sharon Adcock from Missouri. Nice to see you. Dick Heglin from Washington State. I know it's got to be cold out there too. How you doing, Judy in Texas? George from New York City. Nice to see you. Michael in East Texas. Good to see you. Lin Chian from Taiwan. She's even on. Hey, baby. Bernard from the Philippines. Nice to see you. Daisy Garcia from Miami, Florida. Nice to see you. And Otoko, nice to see you as well, but I don't know where you're from. And then Noel from New Jersey. Nice to see you on our call. You can share where you're from, and you can also share this call, and that way some of your leaders can benefit from it as well. And I believe I saw one of our friends from Indonesia. Yeah, I believe Indonesia there. Went by so fast. Jerry West from Buffalo, New York. Nice to see you. And Mary, nice to see you. Don't know where you're from, but nice to see you. Miss Lee from South Korea. Nice to see you. Annyeonghaseyo. Good to see you on our call. Stan from Indiana. Nice to see you on our call. And Shaw and Marina from Puerto Rico. Nice to see you. Dino from Charlotte, North Carolina. Rainer from the Philippines. Nice to see you. Angeline from the Philippines. Nice to see you. And we have another one, Romel from the Philippines. Wow, some of the Filipinos, it's early in the morning there, but they're here. They are here. Priscilla says, yeah, Igloo is right. Chip from Maryland, nice to see you. Mary from New Jersey, nice to see you. And Lupita, always nice to see you back. And good to see you on the call. So, tonight I was going to just discuss compensation plans because there's a lot of hype about them. There really is. It's interesting. And of course I've heard this hype for decades. I can remember back in the, in the 90s when I felt like almost every day I was getting a call about the new compensation plan. A new company's launched and they have a new compensation plan. So it was quite interesting. And Irene from Utah, nice to see you. Tiffany from Georgia, nice to see you. But I was always getting these calls in the 90s about new compensation plan, new compensation plan. It's like, is it new money too? I mean, do they have printing presses where they print money? You know, it's just funny. Janessa from Canada, nice to see you. So when, you know, it's funny because there are so many obvious anomalies when it comes to this business that I see that sort of repeat, and I just sort of laugh. You know, like when people say I'm in network marketing, but they don't know anything about marketing, but they're in network marketing. You know, it's funny. It's like saying, I'm a Christian. I go to the church down the road, but no, I don't read the Bible. Okay, let me think about that for a while. Okay. But all these people that are in network marketing, but they have no clue about marketing or how to promote themselves, especially through social media today. Though we're getting better at that, right? We're getting a lot of education, and I'm going to continue to share what I'm learning because it's always changing, the algorithms on Facebook. But when we talk about compensation plans, it's sort of like that way too, about people who are in network marketing but don't know anything about marketing. I have a compensation plan, but what's the plan? They don't know the plan. What's the plan? How do you make money with this thing, okay? How do you make money with it, okay? A lot of people don't have the plan. They don't. Puanti from, I think, Thailand, if I'm right. Okay. Nice to have you on the call. But they don't know the plan. They really don't. And so it just cracks me up when I think about it because, you know, just to illustrate it, you know, I've always looked at it this way. If you're going to go to work for a company, you want to get a job there, you think it's the place you want to work at, and then after the interview and all that, they look over and say, you know what, I think we're going to hire you. Welcome aboard. You can start on Monday. And you're all excited, right? We're all excited that we're going to start on Monday. And then as we go out the door, then we're thinking, how much am I going to make? How much am I going to be paid? See, we joined something that we have no clue what we're going to make. That's a real common problem with people in network marketing. They get in these companies and they don't even have any concept of how to make money or what money they're going to be paid at all. And when I look back at the, hey Leslie, good to see you. Been waiting on you. Leslie out there in California. So when I look at the history of network marketing and I look at some of the companies, you know, some of the early ones, you know, they, you know, of course everybody remembers Amway, right? But those were, you know, Amway, Herbalife, New Skin, Mary Kay Cosmetics, you know, all of those, I call them dinosaurs. Those were the breakaway compensation plan companies. And even when I got involved in network marketing back in the 70s, that's what it was. It was breakaway compensation plans. Because why? Because we had to store an inventory of products so that we could hand that product down, let people buy it from us, and when the company compensated me, I would write checks out to them. That's how it worked back then. I mean, some of you are in shock right now. You really did that? Yeah, I really did that. We really did that back in the 70s. Be so glad you weren't involved in any of this, okay? I mean, it's a horror story, okay? But that's how we did it back then. I mean, you guys got it made. People say, is this hard? I'm like, what? No, this is a walk in the park. What are you talking about? Bunch of babies, you know? But that's how breakaway compensation plans were that way back then. And let me, you know, so we had high qualifications that we had to meet. It was none of this $100 a month stuff, okay? It dealt with thousands. And I know Priscilla and Doug Smith know what I'm talking about because they were in the same company I was in back in the 80s, you know, that had high volume requirements. But breakaway plans basically worked like this, that you would train a team, and once the leader of that team got to, you know, like the first leadership level you were at, they would break out of your qualifying volume, and now you'd have to go out and find a whole new team, start all over again, just to get paid on them. And if you didn't create that new team, no compensation. Surprise, surprise. That's the way it was back then. In the 70s, in the 80s, in the early 90s. And actually, it's interesting to note that in Asia, still breakaway compensation plans dominate a large part of Asia. In China, in Japan, in Taiwan, in South Korea. I know New Skin does really, you know, strong numbers. And yet they still dominate with, you know, with the breakaway compensation plan. And there's Little Bear. He just wanted to say hi. Is that what? You want to say hi to everybody? Okay. All right. All right. You're not going to promote your YouTube channel tonight? You're going to put it in the comments? Mm-hmm. You'll think about it. So you might see Little Bear's comment about his YouTube channel. So breakaway plans, that's what they were. Those things were really challenging to work. Very challenging to work. And I worked them. I worked them for 2 decades. 2 decades. And then Of course, there's the matrix, which was limited on width and limited on depth, what it would pay. But you know what? I've never seen a matrix company out there that was ever successful. They always would crash and burn. So I won't even comment on them. Binaries have become very popular. They've evolved a lot from years ago. And of course, there's a lot of hype in the binaries. You know, I couldn't tell you how many binary plans I was in, and I was supposed to be in the power leg. You know, the power leg. We got 15 countries coming down on your right side. All you got to do is the left. You know, I couldn't tell you how many promises I've got about binary compensation plans. That, you know, and all of it was hype. Most of it was hype. But I'm not negative on binary plans. It's really up to a person's choice what they want to work. To me, whether you're doing the activity vertical or horizontal, it doesn't matter. It's the same work. But a lot of people I see, they want to spin it and make it look like it's not going to be a lot of work, and that you're going to be just loving it when you see all the deposits in your bank account. So I think there's a certain misleading philosophy behind some of that. But not all leaders do that, and that's good. And then, of course, then there's unilevel plans. And unilevel plans, you know, that's just activity where you're going wide, horizontal, and most of your compensation is going to come by, you know, how many people you put in on your front line. So we've seen those 4 types of plans over the last, I don't know, 4 decades or 5 decades or more even. You know, I come from personal experience of 40 years of working them, and I've worked them all. So the thing about it is, it begs the question, though, who has the best plan? Has anybody figured it out? Who has the best plan? Well, out of respect to some of my friends who are in other companies, I'm not going to, you know, here's the thing. Who's got the best plan? It's really everybody's opinion, isn't it? It's like music. If you ask somebody, well, what's your favorite group, you know, or what's your favorite genre, you know, what do you like to listen to? You know, everyone's got a different opinion on it. But let me give you one statement, and you can write this down and remember this. And this comes from my personal experience of having worked so many pay plans in 40 years, and this is my definition of who's got the best pay plan. And I firmly believe in this. The best pay plan is this. It's the plan that pays the many the most. It's the plan that pays the many the most. It's not a plan that is set up for a few to get rich and the rest are just going to make whatever they make. So I think and so that goes back to me to a moral issue, an integrity issue. You could even put that in culture, in a team philosophy, really, that we want to see the many compensated, not something that is just set up for the top players. And I couldn't tell you how many companies I've seen in the past where company owners have offered special deals to people if they come in and bring a team when they're just getting their company rolling. I have seen this over and over again, and I laugh because I've seen articles about. I remember one couple in particular. Oh, they made $1 million their first month in network marketing. Oh, really? Really? And then when I got the story, I found out they were paid $1 million just to come over to bring their downline in Asia with them, in all the different countries of Asia that they had. So that company wanted that organization. And then they're saying, oh, it was as if this was compensation for products sold. There were no products sold. It was a deal. And I couldn't tell you how many times, and of course that's an unusual situation there. But and I even met that couple too at a recent conference last year. Young couple, I'm going to tell you, they know very little about network marketing, very little. Okay, but it was the mother who really did the deal. But the thing is, that's who they wanted, was the mother. So I've seen this, and I've seen this with a lot of companies where they'll promise. I even got a good friend. He was offered $500,000 just to bring his organization over into a company. And so this stuff goes on all the time. And so then you look at it, and then you see the players, and then you see them going across convention stages, and they have these trophies and these pins, and everybody's saying, I just want to be just like them. Okay, right. Well, you didn't get a deal. Okay, so the reason why I mention that is what you see and what you hear, don't always believe. You don't know what happens in some of these companies. Now, I'm grateful for the fact that that's not something I have had experience in the company that I've been in 20 years. You know, that was never happening. But today, especially with a lot of binary-driven compensation plans, I'm not knocking binaries, but I'm just saying, but those companies are most famous for it. They really are. So when we think about the plan, the best plan is the plan that pays the many the most. That's what I'm looking for. That's the kind of compensation plan. Not something that is set up for these people, these network marketing Hollywood stars, if you will. Okay? They're not leaders, they're positioners. That's what they are. So the thing is, that's what you want to look for. So when you look at the reality, and here's the reality, most compensation plans, the most, pay out anywhere from 50 to 55%. 50 to 55% of, so for every dollar coming in, 50 cents or 55 cents is going back out to the field in compensation. Now, again, that doesn't mean it's an even spread. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the thing is, I think the important thing is that we need to understand just a few things. That when people want to come to you, as they did to me in the 90s, and they said, hey, our company, we got a trinary, we got volume pumping down, and I mean money coming back into your pocket if you join, blah, 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 They want to explain all these complexities or all these components in the compensation plan. We need to all get real about one thing, and I think we can all agree with this, that it costs money to be in business. Would you not agree? If your company has a location and a building, and I assume it does, maybe a manufacturing facility, if it has an employees, and I assume it does, if they make products, and I assume they do, all that costs money. And all that has to be paid out every week, every month. And so there's a certain amount of expense of being in business. And I think it's safe to assume that for a company to do well, they're going to have to play very strong on the just about at somewhere between 50 and 60% of a payout. They can't go much beyond 60%, and then survive. It's too difficult. It would be impossible. So we have to understand that it costs money to be in business. And if it's going to be a great company, then there's going to be a lot of employees. You're going to have general managers. You're going to have middle management, people that do, I'm amazed when even in the company that I've worked in the last 20 years, every time I go and I tour that place, and they have many facilities, even around the world, I'm like, my gosh, this is a huge operation. I cannot imagine what it costs for this company, to run this. So the thing about it is, when people quote high percentages, don't believe it. Don't believe it. It costs a lot of money for companies to be in business today. Now, some people will say we're more of a cloud company, so we can compensate more. Okay, I promise you, the owners are going to get compensated more. They are. Okay, I've been around this too long. So, but the thing is, good compensation, even in a cloud company, versus a regular company that we see that has real estate, brick and mortar, has facilities, has employees, and all that. So it costs money to support that. So that's the thing. Keep that in mind anytime somebody's quoting high figures like that. So the thing is, here's some things that I want to talk about, and this is something that companies and other leaders don't talk about many times. And that is that not all percentages are the reality when you look at a compensation plan. And what do I mean by that? Is that when you're looking at a company and you want to know how strong that compensation plan really is, I'll give you one good clue where to go. Go to the website. Go to the website. They should have an income disclaimer statement for each position in that compensation plan. An income disclaimer statement. It should be in there. And that will tell you what the average person at each position earns, what they earn. If a company doesn't have that income disclaimer statement, I would be very weary about doing business with a company like that. I would be very weary at believing, again, the money going to the many, not the most. The only way that's going to happen, you got to be able to see it. And you should be able to see it in that income disclaimer statement. You ought to be able to know how many at each position are in the company. You know, they usually provide that. If they got nothing to hide and they're an honest company, a company of integrity, they're going to put that. They're going to put that there. So that's the first thing that I would look for when I'm looking at a company. I want to know. Now, if you're already in a company and you're doing good, that's great. I mean, but again, it's real important if your company doesn't have that income disclaimer statement. You need to talk to your upline and say, you know what? We need to have that up there. We need to show what people are really earning in this company. We don't want to make it look like we got something to hide here. So that's point one. Here's point two, is what about the activity? What is required for you to make money in that compensation plan? What is the activity required? I can tell you in the 1980s, when I was in a breakaway plan, when I was in, I think, NSA, they call it Juice Plus now, but back then, you know what it was? It was $5,000 a month. Yeah, $5,000 a month of new business I had to do if I wanted to get paid on my downline. Wow, man. You guys are probably looking for some oxygen right now, right? $5,000. That's a lot of money. Yes, it is. It is, but we did it. But we did it. I was always sponsoring new people, having new people come into my office. I had an office then. It was like Wall Street network marketing back then, we called it. You know, different stuff. But that was the thing. And so, you know, as I developed legs and I developed teams and leaders and all that, in order for me to get paid, because I was always having people breaking out of my qualifying volume, so I couldn't use their volume for my qualifying volume. So, because they were growing. So I always had to recruit new people. That's the way it was, $5,000 a month. You have to find out in your compensation plan what is required. And you need to get those details before you commit to a company. That is so important to be able to do that. So, you know, so the thing about it is, you know, when I think about it, you know, like even going back to, when is it? The 90s. I can remember when unilevel plans had a really strong run. And that was when breakaways were becoming more, they were becoming unpopular because of people breaking out of your qualifying volume. And you're always having to recreate it. So unilevel plans became very popular. So those were plans that where you didn't have anybody break away, but how you made money was you sponsored horizontally, and they paid out strong percentages. For example, I think it was Changes that paid out like 15% on the first, 50%, 50 on the second level, 50 on the second level. The other one was 4 More. That was another one that paid out very strong percentages on the first 2 levels. Interesting. They didn't last. Those became unpopular too. And why is that? Because what happens is you have no depth. You don't get paid in depth. You get paid basically on width. And that means you're trading time for money. It's just another definition for a job. So as soon as you quit sponsoring, then your income would finally dry up because, you know, with the attrition rate and people falling out, because they're experiencing the same thing. There is no hands-off, you're free, you work hard 5 years, do anything you want with the rest of your life. You can forget that. That's not going to happen in a unilevel plan. And so what happened with 4 More and with Changes was they just gone. They were gone. So despite the fact they paid out so much on the first 2 levels, gone. And again, you know, that's not the kind of plan I'd want to work. I want to get paid in depth. That's the key. Depth is your security. That's where you're going to earn your income. Now here's point 3. You know, so if you committed to 100 points, or we'll just say for simplicity, $100, how much of the compensation would you get paid on? In the plan that you're looking at, or in the plan that you're, you know, and again, I'm not trying to create any doubts about anybody's plan that they're working, but this is a question that everyone needs to ask. In other words, so that I don't have to put up a lot of money every month, you know, what will $100 get me in that plan if I stay on the products? What is that going to qualify me for? I want, you know, without doing anything else, what am I going to get out of that? So that's a good question to ask. It's a very important question to ask. Now, here's another thing about deception and high percentages. When people are deceived, that is, some companies will quote high percentages, but how much product credit do you get? How much product credit do you get? Think about that. Somebody can quote, we pay out 70%. 70% of the money coming in, so 70 cents on a dollar is going to go back, you know, is going to go back out to the field. Of course, on the product credits that they're only getting about 70%. So then the company's keeping the other 30. So they know how to compensate in a different way. So that's a real important question to find out. Understandably, some products cost more to make than others. Some products aren't so costly to make. Some are more expensive to make. Some companies have to adjust that. I can see the reason for that. But some will manipulate it for pure greed. So that's an important question to ask. How much point credit do I get on products purchases or my downline that purchases? How much of that will be credited to volume that I get paid on? See, a lot of people don't ask these questions. They don't think about it. They, you know, people are buying, but they're just not seeing it in their check. And so here's the other thing too. If you have to be an expert to explain your compensation plan, it's probably the wrong plan for you. I mean, I've seen some, and I've seen some people on boards and doing stuff like, you know, I don't know. It looks like something I saw in trigonometry class. You know what I mean? They're doing all the freaking formulas. And I'm like, oh my God, who can do that, you know? I remember I went through that in school, and I shook my head and I said, I will never get my brain around that. Never, you know. So keep in mind, complexity is the enemy of duplication. It really is. It truly is. So here's some action steps I want to talk about. I want to shift. So those are thoughts to think about when you are looking or in search for a compensation plan you know, that really is going to reward all the hard work you put into it. We put a lot of hard work into this, don't we? I mean, we really do. And so the one thing we want to make sure is that we're going to be compensated very well for our hard work. And that's fair. It's fair to ask that. So here's some action steps that we can take when we talk about, or we want to, let's say we want to get ourselves ranked. We want to maximize the compensation plan the best we can. We certainly want to do that. Once you know the plan, you don't have to know all the details of your plan, but you need to know enough about your plan to know how to maximize it. And first of all, I always emphasize, talk about the highlights of the plan. Talk about the benefits of the plan. Don't get into the specifics of the compensation plan with your prospects. If you do, you're going to blow them out. I promise you, you're going to blow them out. It's really, I'll tell you a true story. I got Priscilla Smith on here, and I remember one time back in 1994, I'm going back now, 1994, I went up in the state of Maine, cold October night. One of her leaders I was doing a meeting with, a presentation in an old wooden schoolhouse out in the middle of moose country. And so I got there, and I met the school teacher, and Martha's her name. And so she was setting up the table and the products and everything on it. This schoolhouse like 100 years old, right? And I thought to myself, nobody's going to come to this meeting. It is not going to happen. Nobody's coming. And of course, I didn't say that to her. And then she says, go ahead and put out 50 chairs. And I, really? Yeah, yes. I said, okay. You know, setting out all these chairs. Next thing I know, 7 o'clock, I heard bump, 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 all these car doors. The room's filled with people. Filled with people. I had the compensation plan on an easel. On an easel. Big old compensation plan. You know, the graphs, everything. You know, something looked like it was out of science fiction, right? Anyway, but Martha did the first part of the meeting. In the meantime, I noticed the people, every now and then they look over at that compensation plan. You know? And then I thought, these are not multi-level people. I can tell. If I go up and try to explain that, I am going to blow this meeting. I'm going to blow these people out. And I thought, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And I thought, okay, I am not going to do that. So after she finished explaining the product, she looked over at me, and now I'd like to bring my upline, Jeff Altgilbers, up here to explain the rest of the information. And so I come up there, and the first thing I do is I pick up the compensation plan, and I tossed it behind the table where they couldn't see it. And then I said, how many enjoyed Martha's presentation tonight? And the hands went up. And then I said, how many of you would like to get products like this at wholesale versus retail? Hands went up. And then I said, and let me ask you this, how many of you would like to get your products for free? Hands went up. And I said, here's how free works. You got some people you love, relatives, friends. You want to keep these people with you the rest of your life. I mean, you want to keep them as long as you can, keep them healthy, don't you? So here's the thing. What you do is simply introduce these products to them, let them buy direct from the company. You don't have to deliver or anything like that. Every time they buy, the company is going to send you a finder's fee. In other words, they're going to send you some compensation back, and that's going to equal what you're spending out for your own products. So you're getting it for free. Does that make sense? And then I started seeing the heads nod. I said, well, that's great. So the applications are in the back. Let's just close the meeting now. Let's get them filled out. And that was it. And that was all I said, and I was scared to death. I was scared to death because I did not want to explain that compensation plan. But I'll tell you what, just about everybody signed up that night in that meeting. It was unbelievable. And then Martha came up to me. She said, thank you for not explaining that compensation plan. So the thing about it is, you know, I've learned a lot, you know, these lessons. But what I learned is that people don't want the details. You know, it's like when I went and paid, some of you saw me pay cash, write a check out for an S-Class Mercedes for my wife. Now, how much of that Mercedes does my wife really know about? Does she really want to know what's under the hood? No, she doesn't. She just wants to get in the car and experience the car. People want to, here's the thing, they just want to join your business. They don't want to know the details of the compensation plan. They have dreams. They want to have fun. They just want to enjoy you, the culture, being part of your team. You know what I mean? Life is boring, or they're just, man, they want to do something. They don't want to have to explain that. They don't. But you can explain it in simple ways, you know. And so I can remember when I first joined, 20 years ago, my last company. Then they had a very simple language, you know, when it came to joining at 100 points, right? And based on 100 points, this is how the language went. Enroll 2, who enroll 2, and your products are free. That's only 6 people, right? Enroll 2, who enroll 2, and your products are free. Enroll 3, who enroll 3, your products are free, and now you're in profit. Do that the following month, and you're going to be earning over $500–600 if you stay with that same activity, you and your people. You know, it was simple language, activity language, I call it activity language that we use. When we use activity language, people understand that. It resonates with people. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I do that. Because people want to know the break-even level. In other words, the husband didn't know that the wife tonight joined a network marketing company. What's he going to think? She's concerned about it. But she knows what the break-even is. She knows how many people she's got to sponsor and what they've got to do for her to break even. With some companies, again, you got to look at the compensation. You know, it might be 3 times that. Ooh, that's not good, okay? But you got to look at that when you're joining a company, right? So that's the thing. The language needs to be simple when you talk about it. And so to max out the plan, it was very simple. 3 legs. 2, yeah, you make a lot of money with 2 legs. We're talking about 2 legs, driving. You get a 3rd in there, man, you're done. You are so done. So simple people, they need to picture what you're talking about when you talk about a plan. So talk about the highlights, talk about the benefits of your plan, but never get into the specifics. The specifics will always blow them out. So that was all right. So here's the second point on an action step, and keep this in mind. Your income is going to be in proportion to how many people you help. How many people you help. I can remember this guy one time when I lived in Alabama, after I sold my junk truck and I was working hard, trying to get myself established in network marketing. And I remember one day he called me up. He was upset. And I said, what are you upset about? He said, my check. My check was only $200. I said, $200? Really? Wow. Let me ask you this. How many people did you help? I didn't help anyone. I said, well, the company paid you too much money then. And that's my philosophy. If you really want to max out your compensation plan and get the best out of it, you're going to have to help your people. You're going to have to help your people make money. How you're going to get your money up is by helping them get their money up. That always goes back to them. So you got to make this about them. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about the people in my team. And if I get them making money, then they're locked in. They're going to stay. They're not going to go anywhere. And as a result, then I'm going to be compensated because I gave them value. I gave them time. But that's something you need to think about. Here's the other thing, point 3. And remember this. Plan your work and work your plan. Plan your work and work your plan. And so again, if you know that you're to max out the plan, your compensation in your company, if it takes 2 or 3, and historically it's been seen, and all the people who've ever made big money, including Dexter Yeager of Amway, most of your income will come from 1 or 2 legs. 1 or 2 legs. Those are going to be the best of whatever you sponsored or whatever you created. But if your plan in your company only requires 2 or 3 legs, then you know that you have to sponsor until you find your drivers. Your drivers. Some want to call them diamonds, or whatever you want to call them. Your generals, if you will. You have to sponsor until you do. And as I mentioned the other night, I sponsored 72 in 2 years. Out of 7, I found my 3 drivers. Then what I did was I went down into the team. Again, my income's going to be proportion to how many people I help, right? So I got to get down there and get busy. And I don't care if it's 20, 30 levels deep. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If I get down there and then I create heat at the bottom, then the heat goes up, right? Heat always rises. Then it wakes up those people who are sleepers, and they're like, wow, man, wow, look at what's happening down below. I'm missing out. I'm not going to get paid on this if I don't get busy, because I only got 1 leg. I don't know of a compensation plan out there that'll pay you incredibly deep on 1 leg. It doesn't exist, okay? So the thing about it is, but that's what I would do. I would get down there and I would work deep. So that's what I told Ray Higdon, and blew his mind when we were having lunch. He said, well, how many people do you sponsor? And I looked at him, what? I don't do that. He was like, what? I said, Ray, after I got my 3, I sponsored 72, and I got my 3, I didn't have to sponsor anymore. I work through my leaders and help them sponsor. I help them sponsor. So I get on a 3-way call, I tell them my story, I tell them my why am I doing this, why this is so great and all that. I do what I'm supposed to do as an upline sponsor, okay? And then I'm going to bust it for them. I'm really going to work hard to make sure that person gets that leader. That's where I need to spend my time. Because if everybody's doing that, if everybody's just concerned about who they sponsor, nobody's working with anybody, how are you going to have a team? I've seen this. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So when I see some of these leaders and they brag about, I'm going to be the top recruiter this month. Right. Okay. Yeah, well, we'll see how much money you make. You're not going to be around here very long if you don't start working with your people. You got to work with your people. So point 4 here, another action step here, and just keep this in mind. Just keep this in mind. We don't get paid on our intentions or on how many likes we get in Facebook or how many views we get on our videos in Facebook. We get no compensation for that. So we have to get involved with activities that make money. See, I'm seeing, sometimes people get really shifted this way, and they're so busy and worried about, oh my gosh, I got to get my likes up on what I'm posting on Facebook. If I don't do that, I'm going to be a disaster in network marketing. I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people that are not really even using Facebook, and they're making a lot of money. They are. Now, I would think they should use Facebook. I think they should. But on the other hand, we don't want to be, so extreme where we're so focused on our social media activity that we're not involved in productive activity. Do we know how to use a telephone anymore? Some people don't even know how to do that, or even talk on these things, So now you see people and they're just texting, they're just they don't do this stuff anymore, So we have to talk. We got to get involved in productive activities. Talk with our leaders. Do 3-way calls. If we're still in the prospecting phase, we got to prospect. That means we got to talk to people. We got to connect with people, and we got to get people on our products. We got to get them on our products, and we have to be a product of the product, because out of the heart's abundance, the mouth speaks. That's what the Bible says. Out of the heart's abundance, the mouth speaks. And if you believe in your product, if it's really in your heart, you really believe it gives value to people, then you're going to talk about it. It's just natural. It's just going to come out. So then you're going to do that. You're going to talk to people, and you're going to get people on your products, and you're going to sponsor people. You're going to stay in that activity phase, constantly. Don't think the activity phase is likes in Facebooks, views on videos. That is not compensation. You need to do those activities, you do, but just don't get extreme where it's consuming so much of your time and you're not involved in the activities that's going to make you money. That's what you got. The basics never change. They never change. I go back 40 years, and 40 years, it's the same thing. It's all about your product and your service, whatever you're doing, okay? It's about that. And so if you can bring value to a human being's life, then you're going to be paid well for it. And if you teach your people how to do it and how to duplicate that, you're going to make a lot. You're going to make a lot of money. So that's the thing. Let's stay involved in activities that we can get paid on. Now, here's a 5th point, and the 5th point in the activity is get obsessed about the activity, not about the outcome. Get obsessed about the activity, but not about the outcome. So a lot of people are just so concerned, they're so emotionally afraid that people that are going to just say no. I talked about that the other night. That my sponsor told me to go out and get 100 no's, and if I did that, I'd be a very rich man. And I said, well, that's negative. He said, no, it's not negative, it's positive, because by the time you get to 100, again, you're going to be a very rich man. So I said, okay. So I went as far as 72, and that's what I did. And because now, if I had to do 150, I'd do that. I mean, think about it. I've made $20 million in the last 20 years? $1 million a year? Not bad. Okay. I would recruit 2,000. I'll recruit 20,000 if I had to get that kind of money, sure. I mean, I went as far as high school. Where am I going to go out there in the job market and get paid that kind of money? It's not going to happen. You have a debt-free life, own your life, do whatever you want to do. Think about it, friends. What would you do? What would you be willing to do to earn that kind of money, or even half of that? If it was half that good, what if it was 10% that good? You only made $2 million. Wow! You invest $2 million today with all the great sound opportunities out there, investment opportunities. You could turn that $2 million into 20. You could do it. I've got friends who've done it. They've done it. Stock market, cryptocurrencies, they've done it. So the thing about it is, you could do that. But we have to understand. See, I was willing to pay the price, and if the price is 172 people I enroll, or if it's 1,000 people I enroll, whatever that is, okay, I'll do it because I want to be successful. And that's why most people never make it in this business. They quit. They quit the process. They quit the process. But I'm saying get obsessed in it, because I was. And the people that make the money are the ones who get obsessed. They just get it done. I got to get it done. And that's it. All right, here's the 6th point, and that is you need to be able to go in your company's back office and know how to use it. You need to know how to look at reports and read reports. It's really important. Now, it's not tech. I'm not saying you have to know everything in that back office. You don't. You don't. But what I'm saying, but I can tell you that some people have made the mistakes of just being just a few life points, or few points, I should say, few points. Everyone's got different terminology, but we'll say a few dollars away from the next rank position, and they weren't paying attention. I've seen that over and over and over, where people would miss out earning thousands of dollars because they were not paying attention to their volume. When you wrap up a month, when a month is over, or about to be over rather, you need to get in that back office, look at that reports, see where you're at, see how close you are for that next rank position. And if you're like $200 away, I would pick up the phone and order some product right away, or do it online. Get it done. You get that rank position, because when you move to that next rank position, guess what? Your income is going to go up tremendously. And there might even be pool benefits. Different companies have different things that they offer their leaders. But you're never going to know if you don't watch. You've got to go back there, because that's going to tell you what's going on with your organization. You're going to be able to look at different legs, different individuals, and see where they're at. Where's their volume? Is it growing? Are they moving up in rank? What about this? I've seen people be so close to rank, and they're not to it. I call them up, I say, hey, you're this close. No. Yeah, you are. Do you know what you're going to miss? Actually, I'm going to lose money if he qualifies, right? Okay, no problem. I don't care. But the thing about it is, I want to lock them in better, okay? So it's actually an investment in terms of compensation. And so I'll say, this is what you need to do. And I'm serious, because I had one leader do that one time. He was I think making $1,000 a month, and then I called him up and I said, it's just a few hundred, and your check will go from $1,000 to $7,000. Is that important to you? I've done this many times through the years, many times. And it cracks me up how people just don't go to their back office and they don't pay attention. They don't pay attention. They're missing out on a fortune. It's really true. So go to your back office and get familiar with that. And then here's the other thing. Again, point 7, make sure, again, your leaders are getting ranked. Let them know how close they are. Talk to them about it. Now, don't wait till the last hour. When the month is wrapping up, or you're pushing toward the end of the month, then talk to them about it. See what their goals are. What do they want to do? Here's another thing. Point 8. Trips are an important part of your compensation. Companies will reward you when you reach a rank of certain significance in terms of leadership they'll reward you with a trip. I recently came back from New Zealand and Australia, and I can tell you that that was about an $80,000 trip for my family. And they flew us business class. That's right, and there were over 100 leaders there. That was about a $3 million trip they spent money on. But that's part of your compensation. And when your leaders see you in these great places having fun and enjoying life, and they want to travel, they would love to travel and all that, but they can't afford to do it, and then they're seeing you doing that, that really fires them up. And again, if you're helping them, then you help them get on these trips too. There's not a better trip than going on a trip with your leaders, and your leaders are with you. You get there and there's other sideline leaders there and all that. Yeah, that's nice. Get to talk, get to meet people, get to find out what they're doing. You know, it's nice and all that, but it's far better when you have your leaders with you on these trips. So that's the other thing that you need to pay attention to. Here's the ninth thing, and that is convention rewards are also part of compensation. I can tell you that some companies, you'll see people standing on stage holding a big old check, you know. I've seen it many times. And so that gets your downline very excited and fired up when they see you being rewarded. It makes them want to reach out and experience the same thing. But pay attention to that. And if there's contests that the company has, then find out the details to it so that you're on track to be able to get that reward, whether it's a trip or getting compensated on stage at your convention. You know, look for that. Look for that. Here's the other thing, 10, and I think this is the final one. The compensation plan is not the only thing that matters here in choosing a company. I think we have to say that. If you had the best compensation plan, but you had owners that were unethical, or you had a product that was mediocre that you could find just about anywhere, is that the kind of company you're going to dedicate your time to? I don't think so, because your compensation is not going to last. You know, it will for temporarily, just for a short, maybe a period of time, maybe 1 year, 2 years, maybe. Then it's going to run out of gas. See, we have to look at more than just the compensation. Compensation is very important. It's very important. But at the same time, you have to look at product. Does this product, if you took the compensation plan away, would the product sell? Would the product sell? Does it really have real science, real value behind it? We have to consider that. What about the owners? Are they the kind of people that you want to be in business with? See, and you heard me talk about the rule of four. You know, for an opportunity to be a real opportunity, it's like four wheels or four tires on a car. And that is that you have to have a company that is sound. Owners are sound. No lawsuits. They haven't burned anybody, anything like that. They have experience in running network marketing companies too. That you have to have a product that's unique, and if you separate the compensation plan from it, would it sell? 3, compensation. Is this set up for the few or for the many? Okay, so we want to look at that. Is it really going to reward you? And then 4th is your support that you're going to get from your upline. Are they progressive leaders? Do they use online systems, online tools, things like that? So those things are what really, you know, there's more to it than, again, compensation. But I thought I would focus on the compensation and you know, just mention that tonight. Because a lot of people think of, you know, we hear all this hype, this buzz about who's got the best plans, and the fact of the matter is a lot of them pay out just about the same kind of money. But the trick is the credit you're getting on product purchases. What are the hoops that you've got to jump through to get your money? Based on $100, how much percentage of your compensation plan are you going to be compensated? Or you know, you see what I mean? So if it's 70%, if they got 70%, no company does that, but I'm just being funny. 70%, but based on $100, you're going to get paid 25%. Okay, all right. The money's going up. Okay, I get that. Okay. So thanks everyone for, you know, getting on this call tonight. Thing is, I want to see you compensated well for your time and your effort. Network marketing is incredible. The amount of money that has been made, is being made, And it's being done by people just like you. I mean, we have tall people, short people. We have fat people, we have skinny people. We have good-looking people, not so good-looking people that are making a fortune in this. And how is that? What is the common denominator, the thread that runs through it all? A lot of it has to do with making the right choices and putting a lot of passion and fire into it. That's the thing. You could have the greatest compensation plan, but if you don't work it, if we don't get involved in productive activities, if we get consumed with likes and views on our Facebook videos, things that don't pay us money, those are distractions. We need to do those things, but not get obsessed with those things. We need to get obsessed with the activities that are going to earn you a fortune. And I love it when I see you making money. I sleep better at night. I feel better when I go out on my deck and I look out at the mountains, knowing that there's a lot of wonderful people out there in this country and around the world making a fortune in this business. Barry Blake from New Zealand, he's one of them. He just signed on. Barry, you're going to have to catch the replay, but I'm glad you showed up. I know it's early morning in New Zealand. I love New Zealand. He got me addicted to it, so I'm going to have to go back there and see my bud there. So, or my mate, as they say over there in Australia, New Zealand. Hey, what's up, mate? So thanks everyone again for getting on this call tonight. I want you to have a wonderful evening. If you're in North America, if you're in the other side of the world, and like Barry in New Zealand or in Asia, then your day's just beginning. So go out and do it, man. Put some fire, some fury, some passion in your business and get as much money out of that compensation plan as you can, because you deserve every dollar you're going to get. Everyone have a great night. Talk to you soon.